Have you ever woken up, stood up from your bed, and felt a strange heaviness in your legs? Not pain exactly. Not weakness you can point to. Just a quiet, creeping resistance, as if each step takes a little more effort than yesterday. You eat well. You stay active. You follow all the advice about healthy living. Yet somehow, climbing a staircase feels a little steeper. Standing up from a chair takes just a second longer. Have you ever asked yourself, is this just aging? Or, is there something else happening inside me that no one ever warned me about? Today, you might discover an answer you've never heard before. In the next few minutes, we're going to explore a hidden truth, a truth that has been quietly affecting millions of seniors without them realizing it. It's not about what you're not doing. It's about something you are doing every single day, with full confidence. Because you've always been told it was healthy. And in many ways, it is, but after the age of 60, the rules change. Some foods that were once your best friends can quietly start to betray you, especially your legs, your joints, your freedom to move. Today, I'll reveal to you 7 innocent-looking fruits that might slowly be stealing your strength. And even more importantly, I'll show you what you can eat instead to rebuild the vitality that time has tried to take away. Before we dive deeper, I want to ask you something. If you believe that your best years can still be ahead, stronger, freer, and more independent, then stay with me. Because sometimes, just knowing the right information at the right moment can change the entire course of your journey. And if this resonates with you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're ready to reclaim your strength. If not, type 0, every voice matters. Now, let's begin this important conversation, together. Number 1. Why your legs are weakening despite doing everything right. Imagine this. There's a man named Robert, 72 years old, silver hair, kind eyes. Every morning, rain or shine, he takes a 20-minute walk around his neighborhood. He eats oatmeal and fruit for breakfast. He lifts light weights twice a week. He even practices balance exercises because he read it's important for seniors. By all measures, Robert is doing everything right. And yet, last month, while stepping off a curb he's walked down 1,000 times before, his knees buckled. He fell. And it wasn't just a small stumble. It shook his confidence to its core. Why does this happen? Why can someone like Robert, who eats well, exercises, and stays active, still find their legs quietly, stubbornly weakening? The answer lies not in a lack of effort, but in the silent shifts happening inside the aging body. You see, as we age, everything changes at a cellular level. Circulation slows down, making it harder for oxygen and nutrients to reach leg muscles. Metabolism drops, meaning the same foods can impact blood sugar more harshly. Tissue repair slows, leaving joints more vulnerable to micro damage. Inflammation rises quietly, like a low fire burning in the background. Even more surprising, foods that were once perfectly healthy for a 30-year-old body can behave very differently inside a 70-year-old body. It's not about whether you're good or bad. It's about whether your body, today, can process certain foods the way it used to. And when we unknowingly continue to eat as we always have, trusting old habits, old advice, we sometimes feed the very inflammation and circulation problems that quietly rob strength from our legs. Robert's story isn't rare. It's happening silently, every day, all around us. Maybe you've noticed it too, that subtle heaviness after a walk. That extra moment you need to stand up from a chair. That small but growing fear of uneven sidewalks or slippery floors. It's not your fault. And it's not about giving up on movement or healthy eating. It's about learning how your body changes, and adjusting with it, wisely and gently. Growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing smarter about how we nourish and protect the strength we still have. And that's exactly why today, we're pulling back the curtain on one hidden cause. Certain fruits, even the ones you thought were your healthiest allies, could be quietly making it harder for your legs to stay strong. Stay with me. Because what we're about to reveal could change how you look at your fruit bowl. Forever. Let's start with the first surprising culprit, pineapple. Number 2. Pineapple, the bromelain paradox. When Robert fell, he wasn't just confused. He was determined to fix it. So he did what any health-conscious person would do, he doubled down on anti-inflammatory foods. One of his favorites? Pineapple. Bright, juicy, refreshing, and full of bromelain, a natural enzyme often praised for fighting inflammation. Every morning, Robert would slice a generous portion of pineapple into his oatmeal, believing it would help his joints heal faster and his legs feel stronger. It made perfect sense. He was doing what he had always been told: eat fruits. They heal you. But after a few months, something odd happened. Instead of feeling better, Robert's legs felt heavier. His knees ached after just a short stroll. He found himself rubbing his calves more often after sitting too long. How could this be? Isn't pineapple supposed to help, not hurt? Here's where the paradox begins. Yes, pineapple contains bromelain, an enzyme that can reduce inflammation in the right amounts. But pineapple also delivers a powerful rush of natural sugars and strong fruit acids. And for an aging body, especially after 60, that's where trouble can start. You see, older blood vessels are more delicate. They don't bounce back from sugar spikes the way they once did. When you eat pineapple, even though it's natural, your blood sugar can rise quickly. Those tiny blood vessels that nourish your legs, your knees, your feet, they take the hit. Over time, high sugar swings can damage these fragile pathways, leading to reduced circulation, swelling, and that heavy, dragging sensation you feel when you walk. And that's not all. Pineapple's acidity can aggravate joints already vulnerable to arthritis or subtle inflammation. It's like throwing gasoline on a campfire. What was once a low smolder can flare into persistent stiffness, throbbing, or heat in the joints. Even worse, you might not notice it immediately. There's no sudden pineapple injury. It's quiet. It's slow. It sneaks up on you. One day you wake up wondering why your legs feel older than you do. A woman named Linda, 68 years old, loved making tropical smoothies every afternoon. Pineapple was always the star. She thought she was doing her body a favor. Until her ankles started swelling so much she couldn't fit into her regular walking shoes. Her doctor found no major health conditions. But when Linda cut back her pineapple intake and replaced it with lower sugar fruits, the swelling began to fade within a few weeks. Small changes, big results. Even nature's gifts must be used with wisdom. What heals in one season of life may harm in another. Listening to your body, not just your habits, is the real key to strength after 60. So if a bright, golden fruit like pineapple, long celebrated as an anti-inflammatory hero, can quietly erode your leg strength, what about other fruits we've trusted all our lives? Fruits that seem even more harmless, even more everyday? Let's move on to one of the most beloved, and misunderstood, fruits for seniors, bananas. Number 3. Bananas, friend or foe for aging legs? After noticing the heaviness in his legs, Robert thought maybe he simply needed more potassium. After all, everyone says potassium helps muscles, right? So he added bananas to his daily routine, one big, ripe banana every morning with his breakfast. Creamy, sweet, easy to eat, bananas felt like the perfect solution. For a little while, he believed it was working. He had fewer muscle cramps at night. He felt a small boost of energy during his morning walks. But then, the stiffness crept back. The swelling around his ankles became more noticeable. And by the end of some days, he felt like he was dragging weights around with every step. So what happened? Aren't bananas supposed to help, not hurt? The truth is, bananas can be helpful, in moderation, and for the right body. But for aging bodies, there's a hidden challenge most people don't talk about. Bananas are packed with natural sugars and fast-digesting carbohydrates. When you eat a banana, your blood sugar spikes rapidly, even faster than if you ate a small piece of chocolate. For someone young and active, their body can handle that quick sugar load. But after 60, the body's ability to regulate insulin slows down. Circulation isn't as robust. And every sugar spike adds a small blow to your blood vessels, especially the delicate ones in your legs and feet. Over time, that can lead to heavier legs, swollen ankles, stiff calves after meals, and a nagging sense that walking isn't as effortless as it used to be. Take Eleanor, a 70-year-old retired teacher who loved her daily smoothies. She always added 2 bananas for extra energy. But after months of daily smoothies, Eleanor found her knees ached after short walks. Her doctor found no arthritis, no injury. When she cut back to half a banana a day and focused more on berries and leafy greens, her joint pain gradually lessened. It wasn't magic. It was understanding how her aging body needed a different kind of care. What gave you strength at 30th of May quietly steal it at 70. The secret is not in giving up, it's in adapting wisely to your new season of life. If a simple, familiar fruit like the banana, long trusted for its muscle benefits, can backfire with age. What about fruits even smaller, even sweeter? Ones you might pop into your mouth by the handful without a second thought? Next, let's uncover the surprising risks hidden inside those innocent-looking grapes. Because sometimes, it's the tiniest things that cause the biggest trouble. Number 4. Grapes, tiny fruit, big inflammation. Robert thought he was being smart. After all, when he decided to cut back on bananas, he needed a new snack, something light, refreshing, and easy on the go. So he turned to grapes. Sweet, juicy, bite-sized, they felt harmless. Even healthy. Loaded with antioxidants, right? And who could resist a handful or two while reading the morning paper? It seemed like the perfect swap. Until, little by little, Robert noticed something strange. His toes began to ache in the evenings. A sharp, stabbing pain would wake him at night. His knees and ankles felt swollen after long walks. At first, he blamed it on just getting older. But deep down, he knew something didn't feel right. How could something so small cause such big problems? The truth hides inside the sweetness. Grapes are packed with fructose, a natural sugar that, when consumed in high amounts, goes straight to the liver. If the liver can't process all that fructose quickly enough, it turns it into uric acid and fat. And here's the kicker: excess uric acid doesn't just stay in the liver. It circulates through the bloodstream. And often crystallizes in the joints, especially in the toes, ankles, knees, and fingers. That leads to sudden stabbing pain, especially at night, swelling in the lower legs, redness and heat in the joints, and over time, permanent joint damage. You might not realize it immediately. You might just think, my feet feel tight today, or my knees are a little sore. But behind those small signals, silent inflammation is building up, step by step. Frank, a 69-year-old gardener, loved snacking on grapes while working outdoors. He'd easily go through 2 or 3 cups a day without thinking. One summer evening, after trimming roses all afternoon, he woke up with a piercing pain in his big toe, a classic sign of elevated uric acid. At first, doctors suspected gout. But Frank didn't fit the typical profile. Only when they reviewed his diet did they realize his healthy grape habit had quietly driven his uric acid levels sky high. When he reduced his grape intake, swapped them for lower fructose fruits like berries, and hydrated more carefully, his nighttime pains became a rare memory. Not all natural foods are harmless. Even the smallest choices, repeated daily, can build up into big changes, for better or for worse. The secret is not to fear food, but to choose it wisely, understanding how your body now responds. If tiny, innocent-looking grapes can quietly stir up joint pain and swelling, what about fruits that seem even safer? Fruits so watery and light they almost feel like drinking a glass of water. Let's talk about one of the biggest surprises yet: watermelon, the refreshing fruit that might not refresh your legs at all. Stay with me, because the next part might just change your idea of hydration forever. Number 5. Watermelon, the hydration illusion. When summer arrived, Robert thought he finally found the perfect way to stay healthy. Watermelon. Cool. Light. Juicy. And made of mostly water, or so he believed. Every afternoon, especially on warmer days, he would slice up a big plate of watermelon, feeling proud that he was choosing something safe, low in calories, high in hydration. It felt refreshing going down. And yet, strangely, within an hour, Robert often felt sluggish. His legs felt heavier. His ankles seemed to tighten as if carrying invisible weights. He dismissed it at first. Maybe it's just the heat, he thought. But the pattern repeated itself again and again, until he realized hydration wasn't the real problem. So what's the real story behind watermelon? While watermelon is about 90% water, it also has a very high glycemic index, meaning it rapidly spikes your blood sugar. For a healthy young adult, that spike is usually harmless. Their insulin response kicks in quickly, absorbing the sugar smoothly. But in an aging body, insulin response weakens. Blood sugar lingers longer. Sugar damages tiny blood vessels, especially in the legs and feet. And hidden inflammation quietly builds. In simple terms, watermelon can feel like drinking pure sugar for someone over 60, causing energy crashes, leg swelling, and even more stiffness over time. It's a hydration illusion. What seems like quenching your body is subtly straining it instead. Patricia, a vibrant 73-year-old retired nurse, loved summer picnics with her grandchildren. Watermelon was always her treat of choice, sweet, refreshing, and guilt-free. But by the end of those sunny afternoons, she often found her legs aching, her ankles puffy, and her energy drained. It wasn't the sun. It wasn't just old age. It was the hidden sugar surge from the watermelon she trusted so much. Once Patricia swapped her afternoon watermelon slices for cucumber and a handful of berries, she noticed a remarkable difference: less swelling, steadier energy, and lighter steps. Not every light, refreshing food refreshes your body. Sometimes, true nourishment hides in the quieter, steadier choices. Learning to listen to how your body responds, not just how food looks or tastes, is the key to protecting your mobility as you age. If watermelon, the symbol of summer and hydration, can quietly strain your legs with sugar, what about fruits that are known for their health benefits? Fruits celebrated for boosting immunity, fighting colds, and starting your day with a bright smile. Next, Let's uncover the hidden acid trap inside one of the most beloved fruits of all time, oranges. Because sometimes, the things meant to protect us can quietly hurt us if we don't adjust with time. Number 6. Oranges, the hidden acid attack on your joints. Robert had always loved starting his day with a glass of fresh orange juice. It was part of his morning ritual, like the sunshine in his kitchen, warm and reassuring. After all, everyone said oranges were healthy. Packed with vitamin C. Great for the immune system. A simple, delicious way to fight aging, right? So even after cutting back on bananas and watermelon, Robert kept his daily glass of orange juice. Because surely, that couldn't be the problem. But the stiffness in his knees after sitting still for a while? The dull, aching sensation in his hips during morning walks? It never really went away. In fact, it seemed to creep in a little stronger, a little earlier each day. How could something so healthy be causing harm? The answer lies in one word: acid. Oranges, bright, juicy, and packed with nutrients, also carry a high load of citric acid. For younger bodies, this isn't usually a problem. Their joints are still resilient. Their circulation still robust. But in aging joints, already fighting low-grade inflammation, slow repair, and reduced blood flow, the extra acid acts like tiny grains of sand inside delicate gears. Instead of protecting the joints, this steady drip of acid can aggravate joint linings, increase inflammation, slow down healing, cause persistent stiffness, especially after sitting or sleeping. Over time, what starts as a mild discomfort after a meal can grow into real mobility challenges, making getting up, walking, or climbing stairs feel heavier and harder. And because orange juice is so sweet and familiar, most seniors never suspect it. They just assume it's getting older. Consider James, a 74-year-old retired firefighter. Every morning, he would proudly down a full glass of fresh squeezed orange juice, believing it fueled his body for the day. But over time, he noticed that after sitting through breakfast, his knees took longer to warm up. When his doctor suggested cutting out citrus for a trial period, James was skeptical. But within a month, he noticed a significant difference: less stiffness after sitting, fewer aches in the afternoon, easier, lighter steps during his morning walks. Sometimes, the smallest changes reveal the biggest hidden culprits. Health isn't just about what you add to your plate. It's also about knowing what your body can no longer quietly endure. Listening to your body's whispers, before they become shouts, is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself with every passing year. If oranges, the very symbol of vitality, can quietly erode joint comfort after 60. What about fruits that seem even safer? Fruits that are crisp, clean, and marketed as the low-sugar alternative? Next, we'll look at one fruit that hides its danger behind a green, innocent skin: green apples, and the surprising reason they might be tightening your knees and hips without you knowing it. Stay with me, we're uncovering truths that could change how you walk, move, and feel every single day. Number 7. Green apples, the secret cause of leg pain. After learning about the hidden effects of oranges, Robert decided he needed a safer fruit. Something less sweet. Something that felt lighter and healthier. So he switched to green apples. Crisp. Refreshing. Not too sugary, or so he thought. He would slice a green apple each afternoon, enjoy it slowly with a cup of tea, and feel reassured that he was making a smart choice. But the strange thing was, the tightness in his hips didn't go away. In fact, it felt a little worse some days. His knees still took extra time to loosen up after sitting. And at night, a subtle throbbing in his legs made it harder to fall asleep. Robert began to wonder, is there something wrong with even the foods that seem perfectly safe? So what's really happening with green apples? While green apples are lower in sugar than some fruits, they carry another hidden challenge: malic acid. Malic acid is what gives green apples their tart, refreshing bite. And in younger bodies, it's usually harmless, even beneficial. But for aging bodies, it's a different story. Malic acid can irritate already sensitive joint tissues, disrupt digestion, increasing systemic inflammation, aggravate hidden arthritis or low-grade joint swelling. When your joints are already vulnerable, from slower repair, reduced collagen, and compromised circulation, even small daily irritations can quietly tip the balance from comfort to chronic stiffness. And because green apples don't taste overwhelmingly sweet, it's easy to think they're helping when, in reality, they may be quietly making things harder. Margaret, a lively 71-year-old volunteer, loved her afternoon ritual: a green apple and a crossword puzzle. She believed it was the perfect healthy habit to keep her mind and body sharp. But month after month, she noticed increasing tightness in her hips and thighs, especially after sitting for her puzzles. After working with a nutritionist, Margaret swapped her daily green apple for a small handful of berries and half an avocado. Within weeks, she noticed a change: less evening stiffness, easier mornings, a renewed sense of lightness in her steps. It wasn't magic. It was simply matching her foods to her body's changing needs. Even the cleanest, purest foods can turn into hidden challenges if we don't listen to our body's quiet signals. True wisdom comes not from rigidly following health trends, but from honoring the evolving language of your own body. If a simple, crunchy green apple, a symbol of health and simplicity, can quietly add to joint discomfort, what about fruits that seem almost too good to be true: rich, sweet, luxurious, almost like nature's candy? Next, let's uncover the surprising truth behind mangoes, and why they might be the most deceptive health treat of all for aging legs. Stay with me, because sometimes, the sweetest fruits carry the heaviest costs. Number 8. Mangoes, the sugar bomb harming your joints. If green apples were Robert's safe afternoon snack, then mangoes were his guilty pleasure. Every once in a while, usually after a long walk or a busy morning, he would reward himself with a bowl of sweet, golden mango slices. Smooth, fragrant, almost like eating sunshine. I deserve a little treat, he told himself, smiling. And truly, it felt harmless, natural, wholesome. What could possibly be wrong with eating a fruit straight from nature's hand? But as the weeks passed, Robert noticed something unsettling. His legs felt heavier after his mango treat days. The tightness in his calves and ankles returned faster. And sometimes, even after sitting down for just a few minutes, his joints would protest: stiff, swollen, slow to move. It didn't make sense, until he finally looked beneath the sweetness. So what's really happening with mangoes? Mangoes are a natural food, but they're also a concentrated bomb of natural sugar. Just 1 cup of diced mango can deliver over 23 grams of sugar, the equivalent of eating 4 or 5 teaspoons straight from the jar. In a young, metabolically flexible body, that sugar surge can be managed quickly. But in aging bodies? The insulin response slows. Blood sugar stays elevated longer. Chronic, low-level inflammation spreads through the bloodstream. Tiny blood vessels in the legs, ankles, and feet suffer repeated stress. And joints, already under pressure, become more swollen, tender, and prone to stiffness. Over time, indulging in mangoes regularly can quietly sabotage mobility, making it harder to walk, climb stairs, or stand up without that dreaded heavy feeling. Richard, a 67-year-old retired carpenter, loved tropical fruits. Every summer, he would feast on mango smoothies, mango salads, even fresh mango slices over breakfast. But by the end of that summer, he found it harder to kneel, harder to get up from his favorite armchair, harder to walk his dog around the block. His doctor initially suspected arthritis. But after a deep dive into his diet and a reduction in high-sugar fruits like mangoes, Richard's symptoms eased dramatically within 2 months. It wasn't that mangoes were bad. It was that his aging body needed a different kind of fuel now. Even the sweetest gifts from nature must be measured with wisdom. After 60, sweetness needs to nourish, not overwhelm, our strength. Choosing foods that support stable blood sugar isn't about deprivation. It's about empowerment, preserving your freedom to move, explore, and live fully. Now, you might be wondering, if so many beloved fruits can quietly weaken my legs, what can I actually enjoy safely? Don't worry. The answer isn't to fear fruits, it's to choose the ones that work with your body, not against it. Next, let's talk about the fruits that heal, the ones that help rebuild strength, soothe joints, and support vibrant, confident steps after 60. Because not all fruits are foes. Some are powerful allies, if you know where to look. Number 9. The healing fruits, what to eat instead after 60. After so many lessons, Robert finally began to understand something powerful. It wasn't about giving up fruits. It was about choosing fruits that worked with his aging body, rather than quietly working against it. He realized he didn't have to live in fear of every snack. He just needed to become wiser, more mindful, about what truly nourished his strength. So he made a simple, beautiful shift. He replaced the problem fruits with healing fruits. Fruits that soothed inflammation. Fruits that stabilized his blood sugar. Fruits that supported his joints and circulation, rather than straining them. So what fruits should you embrace after 60? Here are the gentle allies your body will thank you for: berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Tiny, low in sugar, packed with antioxidants that fight inflammation and protect blood vessels. Cherries, especially tart cherries, they help reduce uric acid levels, easing joint pain and preventing gout flares. Avocado, yes, it's a fruit. Full of healthy fats that nourish joint tissues, regulate blood sugar, and provide steady, lasting energy without sugar spikes. Papaya, easy on digestion, rich in enzymes that calm inflammation, and gentle on aging stomachs and joints. Pears, in moderation, naturally low in acidity, softly sweet, and fiber-rich, they provide energy without overwhelming blood sugar. When you choose fruits like these, you're not just feeding your hunger. You're healing your body, one small, kind choice at a time. You're building legs that feel lighter, steps that feel surer, and a future that feels more open, more possible. After Robert shifted his fruit habits, starting his mornings with a handful of blueberries, adding avocado slices to his salads, and enjoying small papaya bowls for afternoon snacks, he felt the difference in just a few weeks. His morning stiffness eased. His ankles stayed slim and comfortable even after long walks. And best of all, the heaviness that once haunted every step began to lift. It wasn't about drastic diets. It was about gentle, steady shifts, guided by wisdom, not fear. Your body is always speaking to you. Every ache, every burst of energy, every moment of ease or discomfort, is a conversation. When you listen kindly, and respond wisely, you give yourself the gift of thriving, not just surviving. Aging is not a battle to be fought. It's a partnership to be honored. Now that you know which fruits can heal, and which ones quietly harm, there's one final message I want to share with you, a truth about aging that most people miss. And a reminder that it's never too late to reclaim your strength, your vitality, and your joy. Let's finish this journey together, with hope, with heart, and with a renewed sense of power. Because your best years are not behind you. They're waiting for you, just a few wise steps ahead. Number 10. Your health, your choice. It's never too late to rebuild your strength. There's something beautiful about the human spirit, especially when it refuses to believe that the best days are behind. Robert could have accepted the slow decline. He could have told himself, it's just age. There's nothing I can do. But he didn't. He chose to listen. To adjust. To move forward, not perfectly, but intentionally. And every small choice added up, swapping fruits, one bowl at a time. Paying attention to how his body felt, not just how habits tasted. Moving his legs, nurturing his joints, honoring his strength. 3 months after changing his eating habits, Robert no longer dreaded the morning stiffness. He walked more freely. He played catch with his grandson again without hesitation. He stood a little taller. Smiled a little wider. It wasn't about chasing youth. It was about reclaiming vitality, in a way that fit this beautiful new chapter of life. So if you're watching this, wondering if it's too late for you, hear me clearly, it's not. Every single day you have breath in your lungs and strength in your heart, you have the power to choose healing. You can choose foods that love your body back. You can choose steps that protect your freedom. You can choose to believe that your future is still wide open. You don't have to accept aching legs. You don't have to accept heavy steps or shrinking dreams. You can build strength again, not by force, but by kindness. By listening. By adjusting. By moving in partnership with your body, not against it. Growing older is inevitable. But growing weaker is optional, if you choose to nourish your strength with wisdom and love. Every small change you make is an act of hope. An act of freedom. An act of honoring the incredible life that still stretches ahead of you. If this message touched your heart today, leave me a comment below. Type hope if you believe in your own strength. And if you know someone, a parent, a grandparent, a dear friend, who needs this gentle reminder too, please share this video with them. Because healing isn't just about what we do alone. It's about lifting each other up, one small, powerful step at a time. Right pointing finger emoji. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you never miss the next truth, tip, or inspiration designed to help you walk stronger, live freer, and thrive longer. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and stay hopeful. Your journey is just beginning.